11 weeks into marathon training, I've been using Runna the whole time. Really solid app, millions use it, and it's been fine. Until it wasn't. Let me explain. The pitch with any running app is simple. Plug in your numbers, set your goal, your race date, and it gives you a program. Don't overthink it, just follow the plan and run what it tells you to run. And that works if your life fits into the app's assumptions. And right now, mine just doesn't. The last couple weeks, I've been doing the CrossFit Open workouts on Fridays. I'm up multiple times with a newborn. I'm a data nerd, so I'm tracking heart rate and sweat data that I can't plug into the app. Runna doesn't know any of that, and it can't adjust. So this week, I did something kind of drastic. I canceled my Runna subscription. I sat down with Claude, an AI system, and built my own marathon training plan from scratch. And then I ran it for a full week. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I built a plan. Every prompt, every pushback, every adjustment. And then I'll show you how the week went, what surprised me, and whether I'm sticking with it or switching back to Runna. So let's start with why I made the switch. I want to be clear, Runna is a great app. It was built by professional running coaches. It has a lot of information, a lot of expertise that have gone into that system, and it even uses some AI when creating the programs. For a lot of people, it works. I used it for 10 weeks on this training block, but even my last training block, I used it as well. But a couple things broke for me. The first being CrossFit. The Open is happening right now, and it's always been pretty important for me to complete those workouts. I didn't anticipate a crap ton of wall balls in week one that wrecked my long run that weekend. Now, Runna has all sorts of features to put in vacation time or sick time, and I could have done that. But there's something mentally when you go against the program that just gets to you, and I felt like I was behind if I would have done that. I even thought I was behind by doing 10 miles instead of 13.1 that day. Second is our newborn baby. My schedule is all over the place. Some days things are calm and I can go after work. Some days I have to wait for my run till late at night. Some days I need to recover and just can't run at all. Runna doesn't factor in a recovery score or a sleep score into what's on the agenda for that day. So I was stuck having to move around workouts to make it fit. The weather has made a big impact as well. If it's cold and I have to run on a treadmill, a tempo run just probably isn't going to happen because I can't hold the same pace on a treadmill that I can outside. And third, and this is the big one, I'm collecting data that Runna can't use. Heart rate variability, resting heart rate trends, sweat rate using my H drop. I have real information about how my body is responding to the training, and I have nowhere to put it. I don't have an actual person to talk to. If you've ever looked at your training plan and thought, this doesn't know what I just went through, that's the gap. The problem isn't that Runna is bad, it's just one directional. You receive a plan, you can't talk to it, and for a season of life this chaotic, I need something I can talk to. So here's what I did instead. Now, there's a ton of AI systems out there. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini. I've recently started using Claude, so that's what I'm going to use for my marathon plan. Instead of asking it, hey, make me a marathon plan, I'm going to treat it like an actual running coach and give it everything it needs to create a successful plan based on where I'm at. So first, the basics. I'm preparing for the Flying Pig full marathon in Cincinnati on May 3rd. It is a hilly course. I'm currently running about 5 days a week, averaging 35 miles, and would like to increase to close to 50 miles by the end of the block. My last marathon I ran in 4 hours and 50 minutes, but that was due to almost entirely cramping up halfway through the race. My average easy pace is 9:30 to 10 minutes, but after switching from indoor to outdoor, my heart rate has been a lot higher. My goal is to run it in sub 4 hours, and I want to prepare the absolute best I can to make that happen. Design a week-by-week running plan leading up into the race. I'm also running a B race on March 29th, so factor that into the plan as well. My last long run was yesterday, 14 miles at a 10:24 pace. I also ran a 6-mile easy run today at about a 10:30 pace and averaged a 154 heart rate. After that initial prompt, I got a plan, and it was a really good-looking plan. It was essentially a 5-week plan leading up to the Flying Pig. It even pulled data from the Flying Pig race as to where it was most hilly, what the challenging parts of the course were, and it gave me pacing with that in mind. Now, the problem I ran into, it was assuming that I hadn't done 11 weeks of work, 10 weeks of work before that. It also didn't know that I would be completing one more CrossFit Open workout on this first Friday. And this is where the difference comes in between Runna and something like this. I can then change it very easily. So I told Claude, now this is actually week 11 of my plan. I've been using Runna, but would rather switch to using AI as my coach. Also note that this Friday I will be completing the CrossFit Open 26.3 unknown workout until Thursday, so things might need adjusted depending on the workout. The 26.1 workout a few weeks ago made it near impossible for a long run with how my legs felt afterwards. Might be being a bit dramatic, but that's how I felt. From here, and the reason I like Claude is it asked me some questions. It asked me, how has my mileage been trending? I explained that it's been building, but I had a couple weeks that were lower because of everything going on in my life. It asked me, how often are you doing CrossFit alongside running? And I said, just the open workouts occasionally. And that's how it's going to stay for right now until the marathon, and I'll build back up in CrossFit. And then for the Friday, CrossFit Open 26.3, if it's heavy legs, what's your priority? A great question. And I answered, I will do the CrossFit workout fully and adjust running around it. Some other options are to scale for my running, and that's not me. So from there, it spit me out a new plan. It adjusted the plan based on what I had explained. And this plan looked even better. It had 2 options for my long run on the weekend. One option, if it was heavy legs and something that I would be impacted from the CrossFit workout, it would be less mileage at a slower pace. Or plan A is to go the full mileage with knowing that the CrossFit workout wasn't going to affect me that much. Maybe it's something that is more aerobic and I can recover and be just fine for the run. Now at this point though, I knew I could make it better. One great thing about Strava and why every runner should use it is because it tracks your entire history. So I was able to export all of my runs from Strava and upload it into Claude. So that's what I did. And Claude called me out a little bit actually. It tells me that my recent mileage has averaged closer to 23 to 24 miles a week over the last 8 weeks. I had 2 very low weeks, which I had already indicated. And it said it doesn't change the goal, but it does change how aggressively it wants to ramp up in the plan, which is all good things to hear. It also adjusted my easy pace targets slightly slower to match what my body is actually doing right now based on the heart rate data. It did give me some good news though, in that my tempo runs at a relatively okay heart rate were positive signs that the pace is there, the speed is there, and that my goal is still attainable. But the biggest gap it recognized was that there's a big long run gap. So my longest run had been the 14 miles, and I still had to jump quite a ways to probably 20 being my last long run. And I had a half marathon B race mixed in there as well. So the jumps were going to kind of have to be a little bit aggressive. Now this was great. I had a fantastic plan. I was really happy with it. But there are still ways I can improve. And this is the amazing part about AI. From here, I wanted to feed it fueling and nutrition information. So I asked, let's hone in on a nutrition strategy. I currently have LMNT cans that I like to drink either before or after, LMNT packets that I can mix into 2 small water bottles I wear on my waist for long runs. I have a water backpack that holds a lot of water. I have Relight, and I've been considering getting salt tabs, but haven't really looked into brands or anything like that. So from there, it asked me more questions. What are you currently using? How does your stomach handle fuel during runs? And for the actual marathon on race day, what's your nutrition carry plan? All things I explained, but I appreciate the clarification. And then a few more questions. How big are the wastewater bottles? How much LMNT packets do you use in those water bottles? What's your current timing for Cliff Blocks and gels that you use? From here, it worked up a nutrition plan, which was fantastic because this is the area that I probably am most worried about because of what happened last time. Now, the other element of this is my H drop. My H drop analyzes my sweat, so I know exactly how much sodium I'm losing. I was able to take my H drop data and upload it into AI as well to really, really hone in on exactly what's going on and have Claude build me a customized nutrition plan for my race day, but also every single long run leading up to it and exactly what I should have, exactly what timing. So I am feeling extremely prepared that my fueling plan is going to hold up on these long runs and race day. This did not exist 2 years ago. The ability to take your actual data, your actual life, and have a back and forth conversation it's incredible. Now, would having an actual coach be the absolute best option? Yes, of course. Nothing will replace an actual human running coach that that's done it before and knows exactly what to do and you can interact with. But for my second ever marathon, that's not something I could pay for at this point. So it's not something I was willing to pay for at this point. So AI it is, and I'm pretty excited about it.
I was born under a rain cloud, drenched down to the bone. King without a crown, just a sword and a stone. Those memories talk to me, yeah, I can hear them call. But sometimes it's hard to know if they were ever mine at all. But I can't outrun my roots. I can't outrun my roots.
That one, he just did that workout. Freaking do it. I just like one.
Oh, I still see your face in the corners of your smile. Yeah, the past holds on to me with her arms wrapped around tight. So I try to remember, it's all I've left to do. But the days they fly, they pass me by, and I'm still here, and I can't outrun my roots. Oh, I can't outrun my roots.
Here's the recap. We ran 4 days this week, about 28 miles. But the headline of this week, the reason why it was kind of an interesting week, wasn't the mileage, wasn't the paces, it was the flexibility. Here's what happened. CrossFit Open 26.3 was announced. It was a 16-minute workout of 12 burpees over the bar, 12 power cleans, 12 burpees, 12 thrusters. You do that twice, you go up and wait. You do that twice, 2 rounds again, you go up and wait, do that twice again. That's a workout that was pretty hard on the legs. So because of that, me and my new AI coach had a decision to make. Do we go with plan A, which was about 15 miles for the long run and some running on Saturday as well, or plan B, no running on Saturday, recover, come out Sunday and run 11 or 12 miles. We went with plan B. And even though I felt pretty good, I think that was the right decision because it was a hard leg workout. So I think recovery is most important at this point. Now on Runna, here's what would have happened. I do 26.3 on Friday. My legs hurt, they're tired, maybe still take an off day on Saturday, maybe do a hard workout though, whatever's planned. And then come out Sunday and try to run 15, 16 miles, maybe even at a target pace. And that just wasn't gonna happen. I would feel miserable or I would just skip it and then feel guilty. That right there is the biggest difference. It's not that the AI plan is better or smarter in any way. It's just more flexible. So when things come up like a hard workout in the CrossFit Open or a bad recovery day or something else that life throws at me, I can make adjustments and they make sense. The other thing that changed are treadmill runs. If you've ever run on a treadmill, you know the distance is always off. Your watch is going to tell you a different distance than what the treadmill says. And a lot of people say go off the treadmill, it's going to be the most accurate, and that's probably true. But in my case, the Air Runner that I usually run on is not at all accurate. They're both different. They show me a very slow pace when I know it's faster because I've run outside for all these miles. And so it's been tough, this whole plan, running on a treadmill, because I don't know what kind of pace I'm running at. So when I built this plan with Claude, I told it, instead of giving me a distance to run on a treadmill, let's just do time. 50 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it is, at an easy pace. And also no speed workouts on the treadmill because it's just I'm fighting a losing battle if I'm trying to run a certain speed on a treadmill that gives me an inaccurate speed and distance. So that's what we did. Kept it to an easy run on the treadmill, keeping my heart rate at a certain level, which was easy to monitor, and it was great. And then here's another small thing that turned into kind of a big thing. Because I'm not locked into Runna anymore, I can use whatever fitness running app I want to track my workouts. And the best one I've used in the past, and that I went back to now, is Workoutdoors. It is an app that tracks any kind of workout. They have all sorts of different types of workouts, but the biggest thing that I like about this app is the customization. you can build screens for each type of workout that you do to give you any type of data that you want. So if I'm interested on my easy runs to see my heart rate, see my pace, see distance, but that's it, I can do that. Or if I want to see heart rate, pace, average pace, whatever you want, you can set that all up. It's a small thing, but when you're running and look down at your wrist and see exactly what you need, no more, no less, it makes a difference. Worth checking out if you're into that kind of control. This is probably the most in control I've felt about my training across both blocks of marathon training that I've done. Not because the sessions were easier, but when things changed, I didn't just try to survive the week. I tried to make it work for my reality. Now, there's one part of this that I kind of need to talk about separately because it deserves its own video. When I fed Claude my sweat rate data from my H drop, it didn't just build my training schedule, it actually flagged something about my fueling that I've been getting wrong. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because, again, it deserves its own breakdown. But the short version, based on my sweat rate and my duration of my long runs, I was under fueling. If you've watched any of these videos, you know that's been a huge issue in my first race and something I've been trying to correct in this one. And I thought I was doing a good job, but I think I still was under fueling, and creating this plan and talking to AI helped solve that. Claude helped me build a fueling plan for my race, but also every long run leading up to the race. And I was actually able to practice it today, and I'm excited. It made a huge difference. Today was probably the best run I've had this whole training block. It felt amazing.
So here's where we ended up. 11 weeks in, and the training app that was supposed to handle everything couldn't handle my life. So I sat down with an AI, gave it everything, my data, my schedule, my chaos, and we built something together. And it worked. Not perfectly, but better than anything I followed since the baby was born. What I didn't expect was that the best part wouldn't be the plan itself, it was the conversation. When 26.3 wrecked a week, I didn't just white knuckle through or skip sessions and feel guilty. I told my AI coach what happened, we talked about the trade-offs, and I made a decision. Less miles this week, bounce back next week. It took 5 minutes. On Runna, there's no way to have that conversation. I came in looking for a training plan, and I came out with a coach that actually listens. And AI was just a tool that made that possible. If you want to try this, here's a starting point. Write down 3 things that your current training plan doesn't know about your life. That's your first prompt. Drop those 3 things in the comments. I'd love to see what you come up with. And if you want to follow this experiment, subscribe, because we're only getting started. Next week, we're talking about my fueling strategy, how I use my sweat rate data from H drop to get Claude to build a race day fueling plan, and what happened when I tested it on my long run. If you're training for a race and you haven't yet dialed in your fueling plan, this one's for you. See you then.